welcome back to my garden. Well, actually, this is the greenhouse, but it's in the garden, so you know what I mean. First, I'd like to thank all the new subscribers. Got a ton of new subscribers recently. Very grateful for you guys. I'm grateful for any subscribers, honestly, because otherwise I would just be talking to myself, and that's just weird. I'm not sure what the title of this video is going to be, so maybe you guys have already guessed what's happening today. But last fall, my wife and I collected a ton of gladiola seeds. In this bag, there has to be, I don't know, maybe thousands. We just basically plucked almost every available pod we possibly could and put it into this bag. Let the pods dry out, let the seeds dry out, put them in the bag, kept them in a relatively cool, safe space over the winter. And now it's time to plant them out, because that's what I said I was going to do. I said I was going to plant a bunch of these seeds over in one of the raised beds, which we'll do in a second. But I also want to try to plant some of these seeds in a tray. Why? Because I have thousands of seeds, and why not? Now, I've done some homework on this, and if you guys have ever grown gladiolas from seed, please let me know in the comments below. I've never done this before. This is something completely brand new to me. I've been doing some homework. From the information I'm getting from the internet, it seems a little wishy-washy and not all that consistent. But from what I can tell, if I plant in the tray, I'm just going to basically cover with a light covering of soil. In this case, I'll be using potting soil. Of course, water in, and then anywhere from, I think it's 4 to 6 weeks, I may see germination. Yeah, these guys have a really long germination. And then we're going to plant into the raised bed, and that in itself is going to be a whole different thing. And I'll explain that in a second. Now, the variety of gladiolas I have here is mixed. A couple of years ago, my wife went and she found a website, and if I can remember, I'll post it here. It was, I think it was like 500 gladiolas for $100, which is an incredible sale, incredible deal. I believe it was a wholesaler. Again, if I remember, I'll put it over here. From the, like I said, from the research I've done, they say to put these so far apart and cover lightly with soil. Like I said, I have thousands of these, so I'm basically going to generously just cover this whole tray with gladiola seeds, because again, I have thousands here. So I'm not putting them into individual cells or anything like that. I have no idea if these seeds are any good. But theoretically, something should grow. Then we're just going to cover lightly with some soil. Again, I've never done this before. I'm only going off of some of what I've read on the internet, and as I said, the internet information was a bit wishy-washy. These seeds are like paper thin, and it's very windy today, so planting outside is going to be a real challenge. Okay, that seems good. I'm going to firmly press this in just to make sure everything gets good contact. There's no big air bubbles or air gaps. There we go. Beautiful. I'm going to water this, obviously. And of course, don't forget to label. Let's pretend for a second 80 to 90% of these actually do germinate and start to grow. I can always turn around and thin them out. So I will remove extras, and this way it gives what I leave in here room to grow. I'll leave these in this tray for about a year-ish. I can then at that point turn around and plant them into bigger pots or trays, because the corms will start to develop. Many of you may be familiar with growing gladiolas from corms, and it's just like a bulb, except it's different. I'm not an expert in this. If you can explain the difference between a corm and a bulb, please let me know in the comments below. But I've now started my gladiolas. We will give them the appropriate amount of time. There's one more thing I want to do here, because I am old and senile. I do want to put the date on the label here, so I can keep track of how these grow. These won't stay in here all summer long, because the greenhouse gets too hot. In fact, today is supposed to be about 70, and it's already close to 100. Next week, we're supposed to be hitting 80s. Now, it's only going to be for that week. But still, that's just, if it's 80 degrees outside, it'll be 120 in here without a doubt. So that's bad news for the plants that are in here. The good news for the plants in here is that I'll be planting them out. So expect to see more planting videos. But I will and move these outside again, probably in the next couple of weeks. And this way they can be outside. They'll get rain, which is good for them. And we will see. in 4 to 6 weeks. Let's say in 6 weeks, that should put us in, whew, help me out here with my math. I'm thinking May, June, sometime in June, maybe mid-June. Again, help me out with that math, leave a comment below. But maybe mid-June. If I don't see anything here, obviously nothing grew, and I'll reuse the compost probably in one of the new flower beds. If something does start growing, bonus. Let's head outside. Okay, so here we are out in the veg garden, as you could tell. And these two beds, my wife said were hers, and she could plant all sorts of stuff in there or things that she wanted to grow. So back here last year, we had things like cherry tomatoes, which didn't perform all that well, and we had birdhouse gourds. Many of you could see here drying, and I have to do something with many of these because they're just gonna rot out here, and I don't want that, so that's another story for another day. Anywho, I don't know if I'm gonna do birdhouse gourds again in this bed this year. I may do something different, gotta talk to the wife about it, but she said this bed, we could turn around and plant up all of these gladiolas because she loves gladiolas. That's why she bought 500 of them. Honestly, I think I gave 100 away to some nieces, and I kept 400, which I planted out in the flower garden, which you guys have seen before. If you're new to the channel, you will see them again this year. They're already pushing up leaves. The flowers should come in roughly in the next month. So I'm pretty excited about that. And then they flower until about, I think it's about August. So here, though, we're going to do a lot of seed sowing. So let's get to it. Again, the information I got from the internet was wishy-washy. And I don't like wishy-washy information, but this is what I was getting. A lot of information on the internet was about planting corms, not the seeds themselves. But what I did find about planting seeds, they said, oh, yeah, you could do it. It's easy. It's fine. Just takes a really long time. And by really long time, not only does it take 4 to 6 weeks to germinate, it would take 2 to 3 years before you get a nice sized usable corm that you can plant out in your garden or resell or do whatever you want with. I think they said the first year or the second year corm is about the size of a pea to a marble. It's pretty small. And most of the corms that I planted out were probably about 2 inches, 2 inches across. A couple were a little bigger, but anyways, I'm going to stop prattling and I'm going to start making rows here. And what I'm going to do, they say to make the rows about 18 inches apart, and they say to plant the individual seeds about 18 inches apart. We're not doing that. I will go about a foot-ish between each one. So I'm just basically getting my rows here kind of the way I want them. I'll talk about the reasons of why I'm doing what I'm doing in a second. And then we're gonna draw this one right here, and it is a little close to the edge, but that's okay. Now again, I'm no expert. I'm just sort of winging this. One of the websites I read, which looked legit, and it looked like it was, the article was written by some sort of professor or doctor allegedly. I don't know. They said plant the seeds about 5 inches deep. That seems a little crazy, but when you plant out your gladiolas, the corms, you're anywhere from 6 to 12 inches deep. In fact, mine I'd probably say they're roughly about 8 inches deep because I dug the holes about 12 inches deep and I put a couple of inches of gravel on the bottom to allow for drainage. Here I'm going to do, I think, 2 rows of 5 inches. So these are going to be pretty deep, and yeah, the soil's really not going to allow me to do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to just take our hands, shake up the soil, and what I'll do, and again, if you guys have done this before, let me know in the comments below. It's a little windy today, so this is going to be a little dicey. I am going to oversow, because again, I have thousands of these. And then what I'm going to do is take my fingers and just sort of shake them right back down into the groove where I want them. Now, I may be planting them way too deep. Only time will tell. I'll cover these up. So I have a tag that says Mixed Glads 5 inches. I'm going to stick it right there. Again, 4 to 6 weeks allegedly. And then we should start seeing some sort of growth, and it will probably look like grass, so I'll have to be careful. Now, I left quite a bit of space in between the rows, so I can put down a layer of cut grass, and this will act as mulch. and will help keep the moisture retained in the bed. Now the next one I'm going to do, I'm going to do one row of, let's say, 3-inch. So I'm going to go down about 3 inches. And again, over sowing. I have no problems if all of these took off of thinning them out, of just yanking or pulling the ones that I don't want, and giving then giving the remaining seeds a chance to grow. All right, so we got 2 rows of the 5 because I'm crazy, 1 row of the 3, mark it, and now the rest of these I'm going to plant at sort of a normal depth. I'm going to go roughly 1/2 inch to 1 inch. All right, let's give this good water. So everything's watered in now. Again, I've never done this before, and I still have leftover seeds. If you'd like some gladiolus seeds, email me at jason@growinggreenfinger.com. Give me your name, your address, and I'll maybe put together a pack of the seeds and I'll ship them off to you. I don't know what's going to germinate. I don't know if any of this will germinate. None of this may germinate. We will find out in 4 to 6 weeks. So if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Click that bell icon to be notified when I do post a new video. This way you can follow along and see what happens here. Let's say all of these germinate. I'll give away to friends, family. I think I already mentioned this, but I'm mentioning it again. Friends, families, loved ones, neighbor across the street, and then I'll probably plant a bunch out into the garden because my wife loves gladiolus and she wants more gladiolus out in the garden. I really don't want to dig the holes, but happy wife, happy life. Hey, did you know I have a newsletter? Oh yeah, once a month I try to send out a newsletter, although the last one was quite late. But if you go over to growinggreenfinger.com, scroll the way down towards the bottom of the homepage, you'll see, just drop in your email address and I'll send you out a newsletter once a month. Not a lot, I'll drop in all the videos that I had for the month and a bunch of other information or anything else that's interesting going on here in the garden. As you can tell, I still have lots to plant out, not only in the greenhouse, but also here on the benches. So there'll be a lot of upcoming videos of me planting stuff out around the garden. And I have yet to take up the in-ground weed fabric for my in-ground bed here, which I'll probably do next week. So I'll clean all that up, pull all that up. I will start weeding and amending the soil as needed, and maybe even start planting or sowing seeds directly into the ground, because I'm in growing zone 8B. Our last frost is gone, so I can get to planting all sorts of stuff everywhere right now. The weather is getting warmer, and Sophie is not really thrilled with it. So again, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, click that bell icon to be notified when I do post up a new video. Check out all the links below. What else? You guys know the drill. You've been watching YouTube for a while, I will presume. Thank you again to all the new subscribers. Really, no, thank you. Seriously, I started this channel. My wife said start a YouTube channel. I started the YouTube channel. You can go way back and see some of my first awful videos. And slowly but surely over the years, it started to grow. And now we're almost at 900 as of making this video, which is awesome. Thank you again. Hopefully at the end of the month, we'll hit 900, and hopefully by the end of next month, maybe even 1,000. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. So feel free to share these videos out to all your friends, families, loved ones, and grumpy old guy across that street. Be sure to check out my book, Pictures from My Garden, and I think next week I'll be releasing my next book. So again, stay tuned. I'll let you know what that title is. I'll let you know what the book's about next week. I got to keep you coming back for more. That's going to wrap it up for today. I'm going to catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.